Hello, all. Welcome back. My name is Alexis. Good morning. If you're watching it while this is morning time, obviously, over the past, it's only been like 8 days. So, like over the past week, I've been talking a lot about a lot about the job search, and today I wanted to talk about the fact that like all the auto rejections that you get, and auto rejection means absolutely nothing when it's for the right job and you've been using the right outreach strategy. Um, because, well, we'll get into it. So, if you are anything like me and the majority of people who either are currently in the job market looking for a new job or have looked for a new job, you know the dreaded email that's like, company, thank you for your interest in this role. Thank you for your interest in company, right? And when I was doing my job search, gosh, there were hundreds of them littering my inbox. And there's always there's always going to be people on YouTube, on Instagram, on LinkedIn who will tell you like, "Oh, you just need my resume services, and once you optimize your resume for the dreaded all powerful ATS, like then you'll stop getting all these auto rejections and you'll get a lot more interviews." And there's some truth to that. I will say, not going to completely discredit those people. There is some truth to that. But here's something that I learned while I was looking for my current job, and that is it does not matter. It has zero bearing on whether or not you get the job if like their ATS system, which if you don't know is the applicant tracking system. So there are a couple of softwares where when you put in your resume, like a job opening, people put in their resumes with like, name, date of birth, where'd you go to college, all that stuff, right? And that software will read through your resume automatically and see if there are like keywords in there. The hiring manager, like recruitment team, will put certain criteria in there. So this software can basically tell if you have a bachelor's in business administration, or it can tell if you have customer service experience. It can tell if you've been in marketing for 10 plus years, like that sort of thing. So there's all this information about like the dreaded ATS. It's like almost as bad as people talking about the YouTube algorithm and the Instagram algorithm and stuff for creators. Um, the thing is, the ATS has absolutely no bearing on whether or not you get a job if you're in contact with the people who are in control of the job, right? So I'll give you an example. If you put in your application for let's say a sales development rep role, and within 10 minutes you're auto rejected by their ATS system, does it really matter if you've already gotten a referral from a current employee at the company? No, it does not. Has nothing to do with it, because at this point your resume is already past the software. You're basically going around the ATS software. I'll give you another example. And you guys will hear me preaching the praises of LinkedIn, because I really think it's such an underutilized tool, and a lot of people only start using it when they need a job, which also, in my opinion, very, very negatively affects um your ability to get a job, because everyone knows you're just on there to get a job, which it's a little backwards because like everyone's on there professionally, so a lot of people on there to get a job. But you get my point. So if you have already had a conversation with the hiring manager, or other people on, let's say you're in marketing, other people on the marketing team, and you've been in their comment section, you've been kikiing with them in the DMs, you know what I mean? None of what the ATS has to say about your resume matters when you message the hiring manager on LinkedIn and you're like, "Hey, talking to you, I think it'd be a really cool opportunity for me to be able to work with you. I saw that there's an opening on your team. Can we talk about it?" they could put you right through to the recruiter screen or even past the recruiter screen, because this person can have that conversation with you in the DMs. Or if, sometimes there's a formality where you absolutely do have to go through like the recruiter screen, even still, that's like the bare minimum requirement for you to then get an interview. So you've completely bypassed the dreaded ATS system just by being in contact with the right people. One sec. I am so hungry, y'all. So please excuse me if I take a couple more sips of my ratio protein 26 gram yogurt drink. Yeah, so I think for a lot of people it can be really depressing getting those dozens or hundreds, or for some people I've seen that they put in like 1,200, 1,500, 3,000 resumes because they've been out of work for a year or two, um or however long, and they're doing 25 to 100 resumes a day or applications a day. That gets really depressing, getting all of those rejections in your inbox, especially if you're at the point where you're in a really dire situation. And thankfully, when I was looking for my job, I had the benefit, the blessing, the privilege of being at home with my parents, still having a lot of issues with work, and I was still extremely stressed financially. But it's a very different situation than like now, for instance, where I'm living on my own across the country from my parents. And I kind of have to figure it out a little bit more for myself. But God forbid I was like married and the two of us were trying to make ends meet and both of us are out of work, or couldn't sustain ourselves on one income, or if I had kids, like there are a lot of people with kids looking for jobs, and I empathize with those people. Yeah, so now it's like I really want to stress what helped me in my job search, specifically for like tech sales roles, because I feel like I went very against the grain when it came to this job search, but it worked so much better than what a lot of people were doing. And again, I think these tips work for just about any role. Like there's some way that you can get a little more creative than the next person when it comes to your job search. Everyone's putting in applications on the career site. Everyone does that. What can you do to go just a little bit further? And I'm not saying that like you have to spend a bunch of money on a resume service or on some software that'll, automatically apply for you or anything like that. I just think there are usually ways that are a little more uncomfortable, that are a little more unconventional, that are a little more out of the box, that most of us could probably use if we're willing to like put ourselves out there and push past the discomfort of, excuse me, the discomfort of putting ourselves out there in order to reach the end goal, which for most of us would be a new job, right? So I say all that to say, one, you should be on LinkedIn. I will scream the praises of LinkedIn until my voice is hoarse and I'm on my deathbed. More of us should be on LinkedIn. More of us should be on LinkedIn before we're looking for a job. If possible, do it before. Start sharing what you know about your industry. Start sharing what you know about marketing. Start marketing yourself. Start sharing small insights from your sales role. Start sharing what you know about managing people and a positive thing that happened at work today or whatever. Like, get on LinkedIn. That's the first thing. And two, start having real conversations with people outside of like specifically looking for a job. And then when you are looking for a job, it'll make it a whole lot easier. That's all I'm saying. Um, yeah, I mean there's more to this, but I feel like for today this is enough. I don't want to overwhelm you with information. Just, I don't want people to be discouraged by the auto rejections. I know what it feels like. It's not fun, especially if you're in a desperate situation. Just know that if you're going through the right channels, those auto rejections mean nothing, which is also kind of why I stress. See, I was about to wrap up the video. Now I'm about to start yapping again. Um, um, there. Oh, that's why I stress. See, losing my words too. Losing my ideas. Lord, I'm too young for this. That's also why I stress only reaching out to a small number of companies and really targeting your outreach to them. So rather than applying to 50 companies a day, apply to 10 companies in a week. Apply to like max 15 companies in a couple of weeks. And if you're really, really targeting your outreach, you're you're almost guaranteed to at least get one interview, and most likely get a job out of 10 to 15 really targeted, really specific applications rather than spraying and praying, which is what everyone is doing right now. So all that to say, thank you so much for listening. Get on LinkedIn, get creative. Don't be discouraged, or at least try not to be discouraged by all the auto rejections. And yeah, I will be back tomorrow with more tips, life tips. We are posting every single day. So subscribe if this was interesting. If you want to hear me yapping more about career stuff, job search stuff, tech sales, living an interesting life, being audacious in the way you live, and being an interesting person. Yeah. Have a good day, everybody. Bye.